Hey guys, I'm back, and I've got another Summer Slam sequential challenge here for you. But it's not summer. Nope, not even close. But we're sticking with that original name because it's catchy and it works, and we're going to use it for this new challenge. So in this new challenge, it's kind of an open script, right? What I've got is basically World War Hulk, Gladiator Hulk, right? And the script basically sets the opening scene and says, okay, well, it's in a Coliseum, and then lets you, the artist, choose who Hulk is fighting. And even lets you just let loose with the action. Now, some of the entries chose familiar faces of who Hulk was going against. Some chose original characters. It didn't matter to me. Even the amount of pages. It could be 1 page, 2, or more. That also didn't matter to me. One thing that I did notice, though, was that a lot of people thought it would be better to just bombard me with numbers rather than quality, right? So 10 pages of half-finished sketches are not really going to get much more attention than 1 page of a half-finished sketch. So when looking at the entries, and we're going to go through this together, we're going to look at the entries and I'm going to explain kind of a lot of feedback for each different point of the entries. Just keep in mind that a few of these entries have more than what you're seeing here. I've looked through all the entries and all the pages and stuff, but on some of them I kind of cribbed them a bit because I felt like the extra pages they included, to be honest, really just didn't have anything to add. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about compliments and all that, right? If you have submitted to this contest, I compliment you. You did an awesome job. An awesome job just submitting an entry, getting something done, and out there. And that's really what this is about, is accomplishing that, right? So I'm proud of you. You did awesome. But that's kind of all the compliments I'm going to say. No, I will get into compliments as we go on. But what I'm looking for when I'm giving feedback in this video is exactly that, giving feedback. And some of it will be compliments, but a lot of it will be focused on what I feel that entry needs to work on, right? I'm not going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at every entry or something like that. But if I see something glaring, I'll be like, hey, you know what? If you were to nudge in just this one direction, it'll improve you tons, right? And so that's what you're going to see. You're going to probably see a little bit more on the weighted end of me being critical versus complimentary. And I hope that all my students and contestants and entrants or whatever take it for what that is just I'm trying to give feedback so that I can lift you up. Okay, guys, why don't we jump on in here, go through all of these amazing entries, and see what we think of them. Okay, so jumping right in here, we've got Martin's submission, one of my students here. And looking at the first page here, I'm just going to kind of give us a little bit of space here for some drawing and everything. And what do I see on our opening page, our opening panel, is the setting, right? And he does pretty good. You know, he's got a lot of things pointing in the direction here. I'm going to make that a little bit more visible. Pointing in the direction here, you know, kind of focusing our center here, right? I like it. Moves us over into the next panel. Not great, but we're there. We know this is next, right? And we've got a talking head with some dialogue and stuff, right? And we've got what looks to be our Hulk figure, right? And a cool kind of upshot viewpoint of the Hulk here, which is tough because, you know, for people to attempt to do this, you know, it's not easy, right? So I appreciate that he's trying this tough angle. I think it doesn't kind of work here. This is a little awkward with the hand and everything, but he's got the foreshortening down, you know, this leg's bigger and everything. So I really appreciate that. One thing that I'm not appreciating, though, is this gaps in the lettering, you know. This is, the lettering shouldn't look like that. What if I zoom in here, what should be the lettering? It should be like here, 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 or something, filling this word balloon, right? Like it should be a lot more clear. Even this should be cinched in on the side somehow or something, right? Okay, so I'm not totally in love with how this first page is kind of reading for the reading. Right? Other than that, the drawing's looking pretty good, and I think he's doing a good job with changing the depth of camera and all that kind of stuff, right? Going into page number 2 here, he plays it around a little bit, like I can appreciate that. He's moving things around. He's got a close-up right here, got a silhouette introducing the character coming in. But again, we've got this issue with the lettering, right? So if you're not good at lettering, really make a choice of why you're putting it in, right? Anything we do is a choice at this point, right? What we're choosing to spend our time on, what we're choosing to spend our real estate on the page is important, right? This is the reveal of whatever is coming in, right? And this is I don't know their name. I don't know the character or anything, but it doesn't really matter. It gets a little confusing because this guy's side-eyeing over here at this character. This character comes in, and is this our character, or is this from our first page? Let me go back and take a look. Okay, so we've got this helmet here, right, and with the little frilly things. Is this the Hulk? Sorry, now I'm getting confused. Is this the Hulk? In the first page, I really kind of could have passed for the Hulk. I thought it was the Hulk, but now looking at this, I'm going to say no. No, this does not look like the Hulk. This artist needs to take another look at the character sheet of the Hulk, this little upturned nose here, things like that. If I was to post this on a message board and say, what character is this? 1,000 people would not guess that this is a Hulk. So unfortunately, Martin kind of fails on that part of it. And the last one is a little bit of an action scene that he obviously didn't finish up. So I'm happy that he submitted an entry, but geez, the first thing I would do is make sure you get the Hulk down pat. That's what this whole assignment was about, right? Okay, next up is George Martins. And he's got page number 1 here, which I appreciate. I could see that he's colored it too, so I'm kind of impressed, right? I love when people go all out on their entries, and so George is definitely doing that here. First opening scene, and he's got this speckled stardust and everything around it. I kind of dig that, right? This panel shows a bit of a gladiator's domed arena thing or something like that, right? I dig it. I dig the concept. I don't know if it looks like a coliseum though. Like it's got a bird's nest going on, and I don't know. I think maybe a little bit of a bigger viewpoint of this or something where I could see some more of the details inside might have worked, and then that would have bring us down into here, and then it kind of carries on with this form and shape, right? Speaking of form and shape, I'm kind of looking at Hulk here, and Hulk is not looking massive. I get what he's trying to do. Maybe he's trying to say this hand is closer and this hand is further, but yeah, this scene does not lend itself to a lot of foreshortening here and stuff, right? Like the way how far this camera is back, how this is framed. This is a fairly straight on look, slight tilting and stuff like that, but this is a forced foreshortening that isn't quite working. And I gotta say, is this the Hulk? He's green. Yes. But does he look like the Hulk? If I didn't know that this was my Hulk challenge, I'm not sure George would have conveyed the Hulk to me in this, right? I do really appreciate, though, these panels here that's kind of leading into things. It's a nice staggered horizontal panels. It's cute, but geez, kind of wondering about this. I don't know what's going on with people not showing me the Hulk here that well, right? Okay, so we go into the next panel. We get introduced to the combatant, right? The challenger. And I think George is doing some kind of cool things with the panels here, close-ups here and everything, right? A little bit of a mystery here. This is a big reveal here of this enemy combatant, right? But kind of hidden here, kind of hidden here, and definitely cropped here. That's an interesting crop. I don't know. Maybe I would have taken that a little bit tighter, because just cropping at the head, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. It looks almost like a decapitation thing, and that doesn't translate well, right? So I'm gonna give George some leeway here, because so far I wish that I'd see who the combatant is, but as of yet, it's just teasing me, and maybe that's intentional. I'm hoping it's intentional. I'm hoping that there's going to be a big reveal. Not so much. Not so much of a big reveal here. I do appreciate the excitement in this panel here. This is pretty cool. There's a lot going on here, right? A lot of changing camera angles and stuff. All of a sudden now, this guy's looking like a chibi, though. It went from, let me see, fairly normal proportions. Here's the head size and stuff like that, right? And then I'm coming down here, and this is a gigantic head compared to the body, right? Like this, geez, the head's almost the size of the torso. Yeah, George, I think you got really creative in your panel storytelling, and I'm appreciating that. But I think your character models, man, this is the Hulk. And so, Hulk versus whoever you want in the stadium, this massive gladiator battle royale and stuff. And you've got some of the battle here. I like that, but I barely see the Hulk here. Like, legit, that's not the Hulk. So I don't know what to say, man. Like, I'm going to go on in some more pages here and just double check. But yeah, none of this is looking like the Hulk to me. I'm not seeing the Hulk in any of this. I'm seeing a lot of flurry going on, a lot of speed lines and a lot of action and stuff like that. But it's missing the fundamental. The fundamental was me saying this is a Hulk challenge, right? And George, bro, you got to practice on that Hulk, buddy. Okay. Next one is Andy Liu. Okay, hey, finally, I can see the Hulk, right? And this is working for me. What did I? The first panel is setting the scene, right? In P1 here. Then I get into the Hulk, and I can tell that is a Hulk. Like, I'm gonna zoom in here, and damn, that's the Hulk. I haven't seen the Hulk yet. 2 entries, my 3rd entry in, and finally I'm seeing the Hulk. That is the Hulk. And I'm not just talking muscles, I'm talking, the face, everything. This is a Hulk-looking person, right? And who's he fighting? Looks like some lady. Twinkle Toes? Oh, it's Rogue. No, Rogue! Oh, how cool is that? And Rogue's all gladiatored out and stuff like that. Okay. So, and we start to get into a fight. I'm seeing a lot of nice battles. Ooh, like, honestly, geez, Andy, I'm kind of digging this. Like, you've got some great movement here. I'm seeing a lot of movement going on in your actions here, right? A big hit, a big swing. Wow, man! Like, this is much improved, Andy. I'm kind of happy here. I'm looking through your entry here, and I'm like, geez, this is. And for those who don't know, like, Andy's been a student for a long time, and I've seen a lot of these entries from him and stuff like that. And I'm going to say, hands down, this is your best entry without even going into the second page. I'm kind of like really impressed. I don't know if I'm super impressed with the lettering here. It looks, I don't know. It looks just hand-drawn, which can sometimes be good, but like, I've got irregularities of movement around here and stuff. There's irregularities. If you're going to do something, do it well, right? Or give it your best shot. So let's say I zoom in here, and I'm going to zoom in really tight. And I'm going to say, okay, well, look at the spacing between this line and here, and look at the spacing between this here and here. Something's amiss, right? Like, okay, sometimes we can have some fun with some loose fonts and stuff like that, right? But there's no font being used here. This is handwritten, and it's not consistent. The borders of what's going on in these word bubbles and lettering captions and stuff just is not working. And then when we should have big impact, like Puny Girl, it's not really having an impact. In fact, I wish I wish Andy would have submitted this without any lettering. I think it would be a much stronger entry. Imagine this, guys. Just look at this entry without the lettering and stuff, and I think it's a stronger entry. The other thing I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit here is his borders. I don't know. This is a choice of this really thin, almost not there border, and I don't know if I totally agree with it. I'm wondering if it would have been better a little bit thicker, if that would have given it some punch. Oh, I'm already seeing it's not even. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But that is a rectangle, and it's a little skewed. I wonder if Andy did that on purpose. Either way, I think sometimes, having borders can really punch a panel forward, right? And give some separation. He's got no gutters here. And this almost borderless look, sometimes it can blend in a little bit. Either way, this is a choice that he made, and I don't know if it's the best choice. I don't know if it's a choice he should have made. Looking at this now with me drawing a little bit of borders in here, I think this should have had borders and gutters going through it and stuff, right? Okay, let's take a look at page number 2. Rogue is back up in action. I'm going to guess the panel goes this way, right? Like sometimes this isn't always smooth guessing, but she's looking over here, so I want to do that in red so everybody can see it a little bit better. She's looking this way, so I like that, because otherwise, you're not sure if you should go down or to the right. Andy is a smart artist, and he gears us towards the right, and then he pushes us back down here, punches us over here, and then punches us down in here. So this is a great lesson in managing the eye, the reader's eye and stuff, and he's doing a good job there. Solid entry, and best I've seen from him. Anatomy is great. Coloring's really stepped up and stuff. Unfortunately, the biggest hit here isn't. Actually, no. I was going to make a pun saying the biggest hit is his lettering here, but that's the thing that knocks him out a little bit. That hits Andy, and I would have rather seen this entry without the lettering. Right? Okay, guys. Next up, Orlando Baez. And let's see what we've got. This looks like page number 1. And does it say anywhere? Yep. I think it says even up top. I like people that do this, like that show me page number 1 or something, right? Okay, so what does Orlando have on the front page? The first opening scene. Our character, the Hulk, that was the focus of this, right? In a giant Coliseum. He's got a small panel up here. Shows a Coliseum, 2 figures, but then a big giant panel, and then a small one here that's hinting. So we've got the character hinted in silhouette down here in the shadow or whatever. Then we go over here, and it's looking like Abomination stuff, right? This is a strong page. I've actually got. Do I have a crit? Okay, I might. Now that I'm looking at it, I like a lot of this. This is coming forward. Let's see. This here, the chain is coming forward in front of his forearm and stuff, right? Like it's leading the eye to think that this chain and everything is pretty close to us, right? But there's a problem. Why does this ball seem so far behind him then? Right? Like the size of the ball and everything just seems like it's way back there. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know. It's not like the chain gets much smaller as it goes back. Like this size of a link compared to this is not really that much smaller. So if this was just dropping straight down, I feel like this ball would be maybe here and proportionally larger, and like in line with this hand is probably ahead of this foot if we look at where it sits in front of the body, right? So this might even be something like this, right? If you wanted it to go back, those chains should have kind of signified that. Either way, very strong. Wow, Orlando's really bringing the heat here. Page number 2, panel 1 is looking down. It's tough. This is a tough angle, and this is getting a little confusing with the ball here, and in the panel break. Let's see if I could track it down just a little bit here. So Okay, the figure works good. This breaks a panel, but then it also comes into this panel. And I think that's not what it's supposed to do. I think this is supposed to come here, maybe wrap around his sword, right? And then we're looking downward here, and that's okay. That's a downward shot, but then what happens is this sword and this brings us into P3 here, and then we're skipping over P2. Like what brings us over into this panel? And then, okay, so what I'm guessing is like he wrapped his little ball and chain wrapped around the sword, Abomination's sword. Abomination's supposed to give him a side eye and then grab onto that chain and give him a yank or something, right? But this is, Orlando's kind of losing our eye and confusing us by bringing us all the way into here. This is the center focus of this P1. It starts to bring us all into here, but we're already in P3. So then we got to look up here, see what's happening. This weird chain is coming in here. And I get it because he's trying to tell the story that the chain's in the scene. I don't. And then Hulk saying, basically tough look saying, let's see you try to pull me or something, right? They start to get into a bit of a wrestling match with this chain. You know what I think could have worked better with this chain? I'm just looking at it now and I'm thinking like these larger links to it and stuff like that. This is looking kind of wimpy and I feel like it doesn't really show the strength of like these two guys that are just mammoth Goliaths fighting over this thing and stuff, right? It feels like it would snap in a second. And speaking of snapping, his wrists and ankles are looking kind of. It's a bit of a design choice and stylistic choice, but like I like how meaty he's drawing the Hulk here, and I don't know, Abomination's looking. They're almost the same body type usually, right? When they face off, and just seems a little bit weak in the wrists, a little dainty. So they're tugging and pulling, and he's grimacing and stuff, and then he snaps the sword away, and the sword lands between his feet. And it's a cool story so far. I think it started off really strong, but that panel flow in the second page really messed with me. I think the panel flow here, the panels are a little bit clearer. There's no breaking out of the panels or anything like that. I might have taken this and angled it so his face, let's see if I can do this. I might have taken this panel and just maybe angled it a bit somehow, like drawn it more like this or even more so or whatever. And so what would have happened then is, we get this, everything's pointing us in kind of this direction over here, and then this eye leads us back in here. This hand curls this way and it kind of brings the viewer here, and that works. Either way, Orlando's a very strong artist, right? Obviously, but that page 2 really hurt his storytelling, and that's a lesson for us all, right? It's not just can you draw a good looking Hulk face, but at least he's the Hulk. Next one is Michael Patterson. Ooh, this is kind of cool. I wonder if this is a bit of a photo effect. I'm a little worried. We'll see the consistency in the art. I'm not a big fan of people that are getting in there and using photo editing, and that's what this looks like right now. Artists use it sometimes as as trying to make deadlines, and so I'm not gonna totally get mad at it or anything. I'm just gonna make sure that it stays relatively consistent, right? Okay, so Michael's got this cool Colosseum, and then a second thing. Why? First one was enough. Second one doesn't really. If they're introducing something here, I can't see it. It's way too small, right? Like if I'm zooming in, I can barely see what's happening there, right? Like, this P3 works. Like if there's a stage somewhere, but yeah, this is definitely a photo manip, right? And I don't know. I kind of dig the people, and it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not gonna get upset over it, but like, just the reusing of it doesn't make sense to me. Right? I do like this art, and I like this drawing and stuff like that. So this is maybe the MC. He's announcing our Hulk, possibly. It looks like if it was colored, he could be green, right? And here's our hulking figure that walks in, kind of zombie-ish looking, actually. I don't know. I don't know if it's intended, if he really is a zombie, but something about the lack of lips gives me a zombie feeling, right? But either way, great hatching, great looking design, especially whether it's intentioned or not. He's all zombified, right? I dig that. No feedback on that one. And he goes up against a four-armed dude. Not as strong of a design, but it's okay. It looks cool. I do really like this, the MC thing. This tends to, like, the MC is actually a very funky design, right? Like, so I'm liking how he looks. We'll see how he brings us. There's a lot of hatching going on. I don't know if this cloudy background does much for it, but it's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. But I love his hatching. I love the effort that Michael's putting in here. Really strong entry so far. I'm going to guess Hulk isn't a zombie, though. He seemed to have grown a little bit more of life to him in this panel. Right? The fight starts. It's a big hit. Kind of an awkward hit, though. I'm going to say this. Like, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this hit. This is a weird one. Like, his torso is going this, or his hips are going this way. His torso is going that way. And I've never punched like this. This is the weirdest punch in the world. And this guy's kind of flailing back. And so unfortunately, it is weird because it shows impact. There's so much impact here. There's impact lines that are saying, hey, there should be an impact here and stuff like that. But the actual body motion here is really not all that impressive. Like, it's just, it's weird, actually. I'm not going to get harsher with it, but it's just a weird punch and a weird way to show it. He's a very strong artist when it comes to rendering, but this is a little weird. What's in this next panel? Is that somebody's eye here? Am I not looking at it right? Kind of wish I was doing this live so that we get feedback on it. Are these teeth? I see more action, so I know there's action, but not super clear. And the last panel is Hulk. It's funny because something about this style reminds me of a couple comics I was reading in the 90s or something like that. I don't know what it is, but this like, I feel like, Warlock from the New Mutants should be drawn from this guy. Michael Patterson would do great, right? But what exactly is going on here? I don't know. I don't know at this point. It's unclear. It was a weird lame punch, and then all of a sudden now Hulk looks afraid. Did he lose his head? Maybe he lost his head? I don't know if I see a body here. Yeah, this is where somebody had fun inking and hatching, but the storytelling got really convoluted. Okay, next up is Brandon Edlin. Let's go with Edlin. And look at how this page starts off. Shows the Coliseum, Hulk versus, and then, kind of gives a little bit of a feeling that something's coming, snow or debris all around him, shadows being cast, or is that wind? I don't know. We'll find out. All of a sudden, down on the bottom page here, bottom of the page, it looks like there's something coming at him. I don't know. Is it an explosion? Is it something falling down and then the ripple effects of it are blasting into him? He's shielding himself, so something's coming his way, and I appreciate that. And you know what? It's funny because I said earlier that the upturned nose isn't really the Hulk, but he's got the muzzle, he's got everything else. He's got the muzzle and the muscles and everything, so it's kind of conveying. I could see it as the Hulk, although I'd still shrink this head just a little bit. His head seems a little bit large. Maybe a stylistic choice, right? Page 2. Ava Unit 01. That's pretty funky. I like the design of that. Is it really that tall, whatever that is? Yeah, it seems to be because, he looks super tall and he's screaming and I kind of dig it, right? Hulk's looking up at him. Tough shot to pull off, but he's doing okay with it, right? Hulk goes flying. Hulk, unfortunately, looks like he's kind of coming down, though. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to look at the Hulk here, I don't know, this looks like it might land this way. it looks like he's kind of coming down. I would have angled this just a little bit. Let's see if I can get rid of that and see if I can angle Hulk just a little bit and see if that changes his trajectory, right? I'm going to come in here, do a little select, and see if this helps at all. Okay, so I'm going to back out again. Look at him. I've got it selected. And I'm just going to see, what if I... Okay, I'm going to spin him all the way around. Nope. Oh, there you go. That looks like he's flying at him now. Now he's moving forward, right? That's a little off. I might angle the head down if I was to redraw it, but his body definitely should have been more like that, right? I love the crowd. The crowd is awesome that they're kind of superimposed as if they're watching it on the big screen. We don't know if this is a panel or a TV panel or something like that. I'm kind of impressed. I think Brandon did a cool job with that one, right? Next one. Okay, he lands into something and he's spitting blood. I don't know. This is unclear, but it doesn't look like his hit turned out very well. He's bleeding and he gets booted off to the side and crashes into the dirt. He's not doing well. Kid is horrified. And the Hulk opens his eyes and can see that there's a giant fist coming his way. This is interesting. I think this really works when I'm looking at, like, for example, this does not work. I can't understand what's going on there. This works enough that I understand he's not doing well. This works as in the boot and the panel break and stuff like that. And he's kind of flying, flailing or whatever, and then he lands on this impact. The truth is, though, I think this page could have been just totally redrawn. Do you know what I mean? Like, Hulk was flying into the dude in the last panel that we saw on the previous page. Then something happens to him. We're not clear, so that needs to be redrawn, right? And this whole boot thing could have been like, I like the boot, but I'm sounding very Canadian right now with the boot. But I don't know. It's not super clear. The impact is on the Hulk getting, lying here, having been munched and stuff like that, right? Where's the speckles of blood on him here? That would have been nice, I think. But I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of room for improvement on this, and especially this first panel. It's an interesting panel effect, but was it really servicing the story? Can't say for certain. Okay, the robot comes, grabs Hulk, or goes to grab him. Hulk grabs his hands. Hulk is grimacing. There's a person maybe driving it or something. Hulk rips it open and possibly kills the kid. I don't know. Like this, the concept is great, but some of the storytelling. Did Hulk rip this hand off maybe? Yeah, okay. The Hulk ripped the hand off. It's so zoomed in on some things that it's kind of unclear at this point, right? Like, it's not really clear what's going on. So Brandon's got some cool stuff going on, but I'm going to say I felt like most of it was kind of in the first and maybe second page and stuff like that, right? Brandon, good entry, man. I'm glad you put it in. Okay, next one is Paul Essenson. Woo! Right away. Like, that's pretty darn cool looking. Nice ink work, right? Like, we've got the Colosseum in the first panel. We've got Hulk being introduced. We've got a mysterious villain. This, I don't know if I like this. It better be trees, because it's not reading necessarily as wispy clouds or anything. I don't know. I like the rendering on it and stuff like that. I can't say this is telling me wispy clouds or, steam or whatever helped his arrival and everything like that. It looks like he's coming out of a bit of a tree, right? So the rendering I'm kind of loving everywhere here, and I think who is it? Paul kind of needs to. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna go into the next page and see if he came out of a tree or if he came out of wisps. Oh, that's the dude from Harry Potter that no one says his name. So looking at the wisps here, I'm going to say it's wisps. I like that. Obviously, like, great reference drawing and stuff like that. I like the Hulk is in the silhouette here and the action. Even just we're just seeing a robed figure. Paul's really showing a lot of action in Voldemort here, right? Like this is just awesome. Hulk not being entirely on scene or on the panel for that, I get it. Hulk absorbs a hit and smiles. I don't know if I think I might have redid this that to show that it's wrapping around Hulk or having some impact. Just having his hand there is not really carrying the impact of it. What it should have, I think, should have happened is have the hit. It looked kind of devastating. Hulk smiling. This the dude yelling back. Hulk goes over, slams, and crushes what looks like steam but isn't or smoke. It's looks like a plant, right? Either way, like the readability of this is quite good. I'm liking it. I'm actually not drawing tons of notes on it, right? I'm just kind of just saying that this is solid. I like this panel, the silhouette here. Although it's a little bit of a weird thing is it looks like a panel break, but it's not, like maybe that could get cleared up in coloring and inking and stuff, right? I like that he reappears over the other side, sends a snake to fight Hulk. Hulk rips through it. Damn. I'm gonna say this is a great page. It's got this kind of flowy action rolling through it, grabs onto the face, boom. Yeah. Maybe the only thing I don't necessarily love is the what is that 180 twist or whatever. Like all of a sudden he's grabbing with the right arm here, he's punching in with the right arm, but it's going into a wall. I get it. It's just a little nitpicky, but Paul, this page here, this is strong, man. Actually, you know what? The truth is, your stuff's strong all the way through. I'm giving you a hard time with your smoke effect or whatever back here, right? But overall, bro, how do you have a better? I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch this depiction of the Hulk. Like this is so tight. It looks awesome. Really impressed with this. Okay, next up is Natalie, looks like Natalie. And check this out. I like this. Sets a stage for a otherworldly Colosseum. And I love the world building behind it. The little insects flying in with jet powers and stuff like that. That's a lot of thought there, and I think it looks great. We got Hulk, and obviously it's a different drawing style than the previous one that we were looking at, and so that's cool. I give a lot of grace. It still looks like a Hulk. It's recognizable as a Hulk. What's unfortunate, though, is what's not recognizable is this hand. And even this grip. This ball is obviously on an angle here, right? Like it's coming in this way. The hand is not gripping it the way that it should. So hand references are very, very important. Okay. Goes into the reveal of the character, and it is Squirrel Girl. I don't love her, but I'm glad she's showing up, right? But she's also dressed pretty skimpy here, so she's got her gladiator gear going on. I appreciate that. Still keeping with the theme and the scene, right? Okay, into page 2. Maybe a little less attention was put on this page, right? You could see it's looking a little bit more sketched out, less finished, right? The headshots, he's looking at her, she's looking at a squirrel, she says something to a squirrel, they both look, and Hulk's like, oh, what's happening here? I get it. I don't know. I kind of get like, the Hulk's looking this way because he's actually standing off to this side of things or whatever, and she's on the right. It's an interesting flip that Natalie did here with the panels a little bit, and I get it. I appreciate it that it's a little different, so it's making my brain think, and I think it works. It's just, I don't know. I really like that first page. I was kind of hoping for more of that. Let's see, hands any better? Yeah, a little bit there, a little bit not, right? But the squirrel's nice, so he's cool, and he's coming at Hulk, and Hulk's like, And almost I would have liked to see a little question mark here. Like that would have been funny. It would fit, right? Because you got the expression down pat. It looks really good here. Okay, last page. Oh, looks like this one was maybe a little bit more finished. There's a little bit of, it just seems a little bit more tapered, right? More rendered, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so he's swinging the squirrel, swinging the mace around, nails himself in the head. He's sad, drops his weapon after being told some very strong words by the squirrel, and he drops to his knees. That doesn't look like he's dropped to his knees. He just crouches down. That's interesting. I'm curious what the artist was trying to do here, because I would have expected a drop to the knees, right? And if the knees are on the ground, this would have a different look on the foot. Why just drop into a crouch? I don't know. That's a little strange, right? Like maybe one knee down or something I could get, and one knee in, in a crouch position or something, right? Overall, I think this turned out really good. It's Squirrel Girl, and it's ridiculous, but that's kind of awesome, right? I think the panel flow kind of works. I'm led across, down to here, down, across. There's not a lot of confusion in this or anything, right? So I think that she did really well with it. And let's see. You know what? Check it out. The hands are better here. Much better. That's interesting. Yeah, the hands are much better here. Wow. I wonder what happened on that first page with that first hand. Just goes to show a lot of consistency is needed when we're approaching looking through a series of panels and pages and stuff, right? Okay. Next up is Michael McDonald. And he just submitted one page for an entry. Here's the Colosseum. Here's the Hulk. He's kind of looking a little slim, right? And here's him throwing a punch, going after somebody, right? This is pretty straightforward. I think really what would happen to improve this page and to improve his art is working on, facial structure. If we zoom in here and look at the head here, this head is coming way back here. It's a little malformed and stuff, right? Yeah, I get it that it's still sketchy, but geez, there's a lot of room for improving this face. Like this. Okay, I'm gonna do a little draw over here. Well, not so much a draw over, but let's measure it out. Let's say this is the skull, and this coming down here is the center line. Well, what would that have looked like? Here's the nose. The eyes are off center. Here would have been an eye, right? Here's the eye line. We get the nose is a little high. That's the Hulk. That's fine, right? But the eyes should have been started closer to the nose, right? This mouth would have been more in line center here. The muzzle here. The jaw would have went up. The ears here. But then all of this would have been gone, right? Like his hair. So yeah, just basic construction here, I think. And hold on, if I'm going to zoom in even more, let's see if I can do this. Another little tip is like switching it this way, right? Like this will show it even more. Like look, this is a massively distorted face. So Michael, what I would work on if I was you is just making sure that some fundamentals of anatomy. You're actually, I'm going to say the anatomy is not too bad here, right? But work on your facial structures, right? That's really important here. I think that's where you're weak right now, and I think that I think just looking at this page, just standing here alone, if the faces were rendered a little better, like some of the previous entries that we saw, we'd be like, damn, okay, I'm curious what's happening in the next page, right? Okay. Next up is Craig Bracey? Craig Bracey? Yeah. And look, speaking of facial rendering and stuff, damn, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Although I don't know if I necessarily love this expression and stuff. It's a little, seems a little strange, but he put a lot into it. Okay, so we got our Colosseum. I don't know. I like the worldly effect, but I think the Colosseum should have been maybe more of a center point here or something. Like there's a lot of empty space here that I don't know why it's there. Okay. Next up, we got Hulk ripping the head off of Vision, and Scarlet Witch. Wanda's objecting to that. the expression itself is a little goofy, but the pencil rendering is quite good. His stance, though, is awkward. Like, okay, you're standing on somebody's chest and everything, right? But then you're also leaning back, but this knee is also bowing, like bent and stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to picture, and this leg is fully bent, right? He's only like a toe higher than this foot, right? So imagine if I'm standing like this, and I try to recreate some of these poses myself or whatever, just to see how it feels, right? Lift my foot a little bit above the height of my other foot, as if it's on a person. But that's not even on a person here, right? Like it's on vision, but I mean like the height difference here is not that big. But let's say it's on a person. Would I still be bending that other leg, leaning back like with this leg at a 90 degree here? Geez, I think I'd be falling over. And if my leg's at a 90 degree, this foot would be more around the knee height, right? Like lift your leg up and have it at a 90 degree bend, right? And stand up. I'm kind of doing it now as I step away from the mic, right? You know, it's much closer to the height of the knee, especially if this knee's bent, right? So, although there's some really nice anatomy rendering going on, there's some anatomy choices that I'm not necessarily in love with. Another one would be this thing. This is a bicep coming out here. Yeah, maybe this is kind of working. I don't know. If the arm's in a neutral position like this, usually the bicep will be in the neutral position as well. You'll see a bit of tricep on either side, right? So with him having the bicep on this rotated up, little awkward, like, but not impossible. It's just a little hinky. For me, especially, it's the legs, the knees, where the feet are and stuff that make me wonder. Her expression, can't say I'm in love with it. I get it, but that does not convey shock. It's kind of like I got something in my mouth. So I don't, although it's rendered really well, and that's the interesting thing about Craig's stuff is it's rendered really, really well, right? But I don't know if I'm in love with some of the anatomy choices here. See if page 2 changes things. Ooh, Aries. Aries is kind of funky. I like that. Again, okay, so I'm looking at the anatomy and how he's standing and stuff. This hip, his lower half is extremely long, and I'm a big proponent of like shorter upper bodies, longer bodies, and stuff like that. But geez, this seems. Let me see if I measure this. I don't know. Hey, I might be wrong. So here's the hip and here's a leg. Right? If I measure that and bring it up, it's not too bad. It's around the same height and stuff, right? But that's a back leg. This leg itself seems just super long here. I don't know. Maybe it's just that I get that he's trying to do a little bit of foreshortening here, right? But yeah, if I look at this forward leg, okay, this is what's weird because like here's the boot behind, and here's you could kind of see the form of the boot. This lower leg, if I was to measure that, his right lower leg is just so incredibly long, even though what it looks like is that his right leg, his back leg is ahead of it almost, like, do you know what I mean? Like, or almost on the same plane. It's a weird stance, right? I love his style. I think it's pretty funky. I think there's a lot of coolness going on, and I love like the crispness of these lines and stuff, right? But yeah, I think this entire pose, especially these legs and how they would be going, it just seems a little off to me, right? I would like to redraw it. And even this arm, like, okay, his elbow is down like close to his butt or whatever. My elbow is usually breaking here instead, right? And I get that he's turning and stuff. I don't know. I think I'd want to recreate this and see if I could swing a camera angle that actually looked like this or something. Just gives him an incredibly long and lanky look, which is cool. Like it's a funky style, but it just all of a sudden things get really confused. Like why is this elbow? Why is this arm seem so long, right? And it's not the first time that we're looking at some anatomy things that are a little bit interesting on this page or on this submission, right? Okay, so we've got Wanda here. Let's check out the panels. Wanda here, interesting expression on her face. She comes in here, and I like this look of Wanda a heck of a lot better. Although it's kind of weird, like he's running from behind and she's doing what? So she is sitting there, and all of a sudden is she zapping in from somewhere, and why is she ahead of him? Who is she looking at? Hulk's behind her here, but she's looking at us. Shouldn't she be looking at the Hulk? Right? And then in the next panel, it seems like here's the Hulk and here's her energy, so she would be looking at him, but here he's behind. And something hit him, maybe? Maybe she threw something or some power hit him or something like that. I don't know, something looks like it came from her. So this is where, like, honestly, I think it's Craig Breeze. I don't know, maybe that's a typo here. This, like, the rendering is just incredible. I love the line work here. But this is confusing as heck, man. And the thing is, I don't want you to explain it to me, because if you have to explain it, it means something failed in the art. You shouldn't have to explain a panel or anything like that, especially because you got lettering here. Decent lettering too, but it's like, yeah, it's confusing. Okay. Next one is Juan Toro. And we got a pretty funky submission here. Okay, so first panel is Coliseum with a bunch of cool aliens. I dig that. I like the personality there. And you can see Hulk up on the big screen or whatever here being projected. It was a copy paste, but that's okay. That happens, right? Doesn't bother me. It looks like he's already had some battles. There's some damage to the walls, all these aliens. Kind of wish they were looking at him a little bit more instead of kind of looking at the viewer and stuff, right? Like, I don't know, they seem a little flat, but it's cute, right? It's cute. And then Bruce Banner, your soul has expired. I'm here to collect it. We've got some awesome rendering of the Hulk. He's looking tough. And then he reacts to that. I don't know. I might have separated these two or something. I don't know if I'm loving this. Like, I love the drawing. Don't get me wrong, right? But he's looking all tough, and within a second, he's like, huh? He looks all scared. Maybe there wasn't enough build up for that, right? Next one. The name's Nolan. I'm a taker. I collect expired souls. Okay. And I can take yours painlessly or not. Okay. He's looking pretty cool. Great scenes. I'm appreciating, the slow introduction to him, the face, and then the powerful pose and stuff. Some of the lettering I'm not a fan of, and we've already talked about this before, right? Like, the spacing between the lettering and the word bubble, it should be pretty consistent throughout. I don't want to see it almost touching somewhere and not touching, or, it be better with this lettering if you're submitting with it. But this artwork is fantastic. Okay, Hulk goes after him, and Hulk looks giant. Like, I was going to say, I hope he is giant compared to him, because, like, he's behind, he's further away from us, so he must be huge. And it turns out he is. Look at that size of that fist. Like, size of from the belly button up to his head on this. So Hulk definitely outsizes him here. Punches, crash. I don't know if the blur effect totally works, but I get it. It's kind of cool looking, right? This dude comes huffing, comes out of the wall. And he says, let's get serious. Do not like this lettering here. I like this. I like him cracking himself back out of the wall. And I like, actually, the panels. I like how, sorry, I'm just looking at this now, how the panels are just like kind of just roughly drawn and stuff like that. The differences in consistency in the lines and stuff. It's heavier on one side or something. It gives impact to certain panels. It's cool. The lettering I'm not a fan of here. Actually, lettering I'm not a fan of almost everywhere on this one. But Yeah, I'm digging the storytelling. Okay. Next up. What do we got here? He comes in with a big belly punch. Good impact. Look at Hulk's face there. That's some good drawing right there. I'm appreciating that. Like it's almost Disney-esque. It's a little over the top, and I dig it. I don't know if I dig the blur. This is another blur choice here, and I'm not necessarily in love with it. This has more focus than this does. And be careful of that, right? Like I had to figure out why Hulk was looking that way, right? Come down here, Hulk is still kind of in the stance, and this guy is all of a sudden he's far away now. He's leaping at Hulk. In the panel before, he was right under Hulk. Now he's far away, and he comes down and hammers Hulk in the head. Yeah, watch the consistency and storytelling in that, right? And then he jumps away. See, now this gives him the distance that he could have had between those other panels, right? Jumps away, and then now he's got a sword and he cuts off Hulk's head. Cool. Little problems with the storytelling, but overall, really good art. I think like a really good submission from Juan. I actually don't really have any draw overs all over this as I start to mumble my way through this, right? It's a solid submission, but some of the leaps between one panel and the next is dragging the reader along. Maybe the artist was already there in their mind, and the reader needed to be handheld a little bit more, I think. Also, watch out for like your lettering, like your panel work, but like, for example, the panel here spills and just forms into this haphazard lettering and word bubble that got fatted out here and stuff. So really be careful of that, okay, Juan? Good stuff, man. Screen recording now. Okay, and next up we got Manuka Rawan here with another entry. Cool, right? Like, what do we have? Kind of got a background that's a bit of the setting the scene. Not a lot of details in it, but I like the vibe of it, that it's the background of the page, right? First panel is the cheering crowds welcoming him in the Gladiator. Then now that I look at it, it's the second panel that's the background panel, and it's the Hulk standing there. There's some wrong warping going on the perspective here, and let's see if I have this make a little bit of sense. What's happening here is that it would appear this ball's close to us, right? If so, then this should not be angled towards us. Like how this is looking is the way this is angled here by that scoop means that it's at least equal, if not coming out this way. And that's not what the hand is showing here at all, right? What he should have done was just have this part gone and have the thing tapering off as it goes back, right? Okay, so overall it's good, but like little mistakes like that trick the eye and confuse the eye and frustrate the eye, right? Okay, next up is a panel with possibly Bruce Banner sitting on a tree. Okay, or somebody laying on a tree. I don't know. Maybe it's Bruce, maybe it's not. And then drops out of the sky. Oh, I get it. This tree and the roots and everything is dropping out of the sky into what is this Colosseum, right? Okay, so we've got the Hulk going to fight whoever this tree guy is, right? Let's see, page 2. Page 2. It falls, lands smack in the face, and looks up, and it's the monkey boy. Nice enough flow on this page. There's a lot of wasted space here, though. Like, so much, right? But the musculature, the vibe of it all, pretty decent. Like, I think Manuka is doing a good job in this. I actually appreciate, the entry, because that's probably how I would enter this battle, right? So, yeah, looks good. Just worry about that wasted space. All this up here, and maybe that's for text later. That could be kind of cool, if that's the one that's planned, right? Next up is the action scenes, and Okay, are these action scenes? Yes, the Hulk is running and jumping, and that's cool. But like, whole lot of wasted space here again. Like this is a frustration that I'm having here. Is that you know this Hulk could have been running, jumping, and then number of panels here showing a fight scene or something like that. This big splash action has very little to do with the Hulk here. The Hulk is so small, and there's so much empty space here, right? So, Manuka, I think it would be good of you to really address your page real estate and how you're spending it, right? You've got X amount of square pixels or inches or however we want to look at it, and you dedicated this much, and this much to the Hulk, and this much to the Monkey Boy, right? Like the figures on this page, the action on this page, everything is maybe 20% of this page. 80% of this page is just wasted space, right? So it's cool in some ways, but a lot of wasted space here. Okay, next up is, let's see, Rasheed. Okay, Rasheed's got a number of pages here. They're not super clear though. I have to say, like the panel flow and stuff like that. If I'm bouncing back and forth, if I'm just looking at it, and I can zoom in a little bit here and see if it makes it a little bit better. Here's the Coliseum. We go from, not sure why we have this wasted space here, but we go over here to the Coliseum. Nothing really brings us back here other than like this panel being slightly on par or above. So it kind of brings us here to an announcer. And I like this announcer. I like the announcer idea, but I've seen it done in previous pages, previous entries a little bit better, right? So this announcer isn't really helping, and like there's some like missing lines here maybe, and like just some of the disconnect, and it's just reading a lot like a sketch. We've got Hulk here, but actually this was confusing. Now that I get it, here's his hand, but for some reason I thought he had like maybe a shot put here and he was pressing it up against his cheek or something. Watch out for the anatomy. There's lots of things going on with the shoulder here that aren't right. Or hold on, is this the shoulder? This is the bicep, maybe. Okay, that could be. The line work's making it a little bit more difficult. I'm taking it this is a girl alien pushing back against some obnoxious dude. If so, I really like that idea. I think it's cool. And then we've got another scene of the Hulk here. But why? Like, if I back out again, we've got the intro of the character, the crowd, a lot of wasted space all over the place and stuff. And we've got the Hulk kind of breaking this panel here. And then he's looking back. But again, this is even more just wasted space. Like, I don't understand some of the choices here. I think this could have been a stronger page, for example, with this intro Coliseum, maybe the head of the announcer here, your intro shot of the Hulk here, a crowd reaction is hushed over here, and then the reveal at the bottom of the page or something. I don't know. Or a stronger, even a close-up of the Hulk maybe questioning and saying, what's coming for me, right? Okay, next page is a business dude in a suit. Don't know who he is, but that's okay. He maybe gets thrown into the mix because he seems confused in panel 2. Hulk is standing behind him. Announcer says something. Somebody's angry. Is that the Hulk? Hulk is standing behind him again. Announcer dude. Hulk is taking baby steps. Then all of a sudden he rushes and leaps. Is that the dude down here? And he's looking up? Maybe. If so, if that's the dude and that's the Hulk, this dude is like Ant-Man. It's the ratio here is not staying the same. Like there's something going on with the sizing here that's really not working, right? If I recall, these pages were sent to me kind of all over the place in a certain, like, jumbled and stuff like that. They weren't scanned very well, and so that's kind of why I put them in like this, just to show, like, if you're submitting an entry to an editor, a contest editor, or whatever it is, right? Like, you want to be putting your best foot forward. And part of that is making sure that your files are formatted correct, that you're exporting them correctly, things like that. And that's part of being a professional, right? So I'm just going to nudge Rasheed a little bit here on exporting things correctly, right? Okay, so the frog guy, the announcer, is no longer talking. Tiny dude is maybe dead, busted over some rocks. Hulk is pounding tiny dude. Tiny dude is down for the count. Tiny dude starts. Oh, we go this way. Tiny dude is smoldering, right? Like he's just laying there. All of a sudden, tiny dude starts to get up. Okay, are we back to? Oh, and then we're going to go this way. Maybe a double page spread. I can appreciate that. Tiny dude grew up to be a big dude with a big mustache. Cool. And then he's now fighting the Hulk. What? I don't know what's happening here. What is this thing? I don't understand that. It looks like it's coming out of his head. And so this is where we get into tangents. Is like, what if this is an arm? If this is something back there, I can't make it out. And no matter what it is, it shouldn't be coming out of his head this way, right? Like that just makes it impossible to read what it is. Right? So, hey, Rasheed, number one, watch out for your space, your real estate and stuff, right? The flow between the panels is okay, but because it's so sketchy, I can't really make out what's going on in some of them, right? Like that, I appreciate a sketch, right? But you submitted this as for judging in a final piece, and a lot of this I can't make out. But okay. Next one is Vincent. Let's see if I kick it back to normal. Okay, so Vincent on page 1 here. We got the Colosseum. Oops. Sorry, guys. We got the Colosseum. Cool attempt at the Colosseum. Like he's walking up, there's sun lights beaming out of it and stuff like that. I don't think this would be the perspective on the Colosseum. If this is the viewer's eye, and this seems to be the viewer's eye, the Colosseum would not be looking like that. So the perspective is really wrong. This band might be here. The top of the Colosseum might be more like this or something, right? Depends, like where the horizon line is. Maybe even a little bit bowing here or something. And then you could have the lights coming out of there and stuff, right? So the perspective's off on it. You could have put, all the windows and everything in that perspective, right? Okay, so dude's walking into the Colosseum, spots some angry person, a gladiator. Batman walks out, ready to kick some butt. Nice enough reveal. Yeah, I kind of like this one better. The knuckle crunching and stuff like that just kind of plays out a little bit better in my mind for I'm Batman, right? The power walk looks like the women at the mall, right? Okay, so this is a nice scene. Dude's starting to charge, and I could see that Vincent really spent a lot of time in this particular panel and stuff like that. There could have been more things going on. Like when you think about it, let's see. Maybe this panel could have been something more like this, with this breaking out of a panel, and that would have been enough to convey whatever's happening here, right? A lot of this is not really having any impact. Okay. And the last page is getting stronger. I think this entry gets stronger as it goes on. The action, I'd like to see a little bit more stuff going on. Again, wasted space. This could have been a better close-up. Could have been something, right? Batman comes up from behind and possibly shoots him in the butt. When I'm looking at his stance here, his head's right in his butt crack. Gun comes out. Oh, no, it comes around his neck here. Okay, I got it. Okay. Sorry, my imagination went in different places here, right? Overall, pretty good entry. Yeah, maybe I would say if I was Vincent, I would look at, what I choose to put in and why it's there. How much time I spend drawing all this, and is it worth it, right? Like what's going on there, right? Okay, good stuff. Next up is Miguel. Miguel Jesus. Oh my. Okay. Well, this is kind of funky. We've got the Coliseum in P1. Looks cool, right? Kind of hard to make out to an extent. And then we've got Hulk intro in P2. Now, this Hulk is pretty badass, right? Like, the Hulk is looking awesome. The rendering is awesome. Some things are getting lost a little bit going on here and stuff like that. Like, the crispness in this line is, I felt punches a little bit better than, oh, maybe it's not too bad. I would have come in here and maybe darkened this up a little bit more. Give it, I don't know if a halo, but just give it a little bit more punch here so that I could see the separation between this hand and whatever's happening behind. And if I zoom back out again, you can see how all of a sudden just that little bit of extra punch helps separate that, right? And what I would also do, I would do it for the Hulk's head here too, like I would have come in here and this is going to be butchering his entry a little bit. Sorry, Miguel. I would have come in and that way, because what's happening in that P1 is we got this Coliseum, but we're kind of losing some of it, right? Like, well, we're confusing some of it with what's happening on the top of Hulk's head here, right? So a slight halo, it doesn't even have to be a massive halo, but a darkening makes a total difference. Look at that. Before, things are starting to blend into each other in the panels, and then I add it in there and it punches a lot harder, right? Okay, so we've got Hulk, and then down below we've got Wolverine. And these two intro shots are pretty badass, right? Like, Hulk looks awesome. Wolverine smoking a cigar looks awesome. Honestly, no crits on how these dudes look. Like, they're very, very, very well drawn, right? Let's see, page 2. Oh, I get it. Wolverine flicks the cigar and it smacks Hulk in the eye. Just as a storytelling thing and even the readability here and stuff like that. Maybe it'll come more with colors and having some embers and stuff like that, right? But overall, Hulk is not a dude to get bothered by a cigar flicking in his eye, right? Like, I kind of don't see it. The drawing's fine, but like, this choice of starting off, I can imagine Wolverine flicking the cigar, and I could imagine it hitting Hulk and just kind of dropping down and them both kind of staring at each other. And I think from a storytelling perspective, that might have been a smarter choice, right? Because this angled shot here, there's a lot going on, but it's a little confusing. And overall, again, he's an amazing artist, but can't say I love that choice there. The reaction of the crowd, kind of like raised eyebrows and dropped jaws, I get, right? It's pretty good. If I move in, Wolverine does an arm cross, Hulk gets mad, and then Wolverine snicks his way out. He's like ready to roll, right? This was a 2-page entry. So, it succeeds in that I want to see page number 3. So in that way, it's a success. There's the rendering alone, like the drawing alone, has me captivated. Right. Yeah, I would say the panel flow is decent. Everything's working pretty well in this. Just a couple things of a little bit of a drab storytelling, I gotta say, right? Like, even though the rendering is amazing, the drawing's really, really good. Everything's looking really cool and stuff, right? This straight on page 1 did not lead to more excitement in page 2 or something. I kind of was hoping for something more than a cigar in the face, right? Okay. Next up is Winter. Okay, Winter. Let's see what you got here. Winter's page 1. And if I remember, this is page 1 and this is page 2. And if I remember, Winter submitted a lot of pages. And I had a lot of people do that, submit like anywhere from 5 to 10 pages. And I got to say, like, I looked at all the pages, so I looked through them and stuff, and I just went with selecting the first 3 or 4 or something, if there was more. simply because I want to keep this video at a digestible length, but also because 100% of the time, better things did not happen as the pages went on. It did not get amazingly better or anything like that, right? So, yeah, like in the previous entry, I would have been like, damn, yeah, who was that? Miguel, give me more of what you got. I want to see that, right? For the ones that entered usually 10 pages or so, I'm like, no. That 10 pages didn't do you justice. You should have done a solid 2 or 3 and spent more time doing it, right? Okay, so looking at Winters here, there's a Coliseum, the banners and stuff, little aliens walking their way in there. Can't read the writing really. Like this is some pretty difficult lettering. There's a lot going on with it that just is not working, right? The changing of the fonts is not working. The spacing between the letters is not working. The spacing between the word bubble and the lettering is not working. There's a lot that is not working here. Oh wait, I think that's page number 2 behind there. Let's see if I turn this off. Yeah. Anyways, and it holds true, right? Like it's just not really working right now. So I'm kind of, let's see if I can get rid of this. This is page number 1, and I like the coloring. I like the pencil crayon coloring. I think that actually really works. And the design aspect of the alien world, I think also really works. The anatomy, though, Hulk is absolutely missing an upper arm. It goes from the deltoids here into the forearm. And so, and there's things going on in the midsection here and stuff. And I just think that Winter would do really well spending more time working on some basic anatomy here, right? Yeah, I can see Winter's guessing on anatomy. Like this is something that I'm seeing consistently here. That there's a stylistic choice that we see here, and I kind of dig that, right? But you can simplify off of that. You can stylize off of it, but when you're guessing, it really shows through. And so we've got some problems again with the lettering on this page, on page number 2. I do like the style, though. It's cute. Sorry, I'm just focusing on that right now. And then, okay, so we've got a battle going on here, and this is, I get it. Like they're facing off, right? But we've got a lot of wasted space here, and I think that this could have been drawn in a different way. I could imagine like Winter, if you've got action figures at home or something like that, to grab your action figures, kind of pose them with one flying in and one standing there strong, and seeing how they might look faced off. What is the most dramatic shot you could get out of that, right? Right now, the drama is taken away from this shot a little bit, right? So just keep that in mind, that some of the drama dissipates because of all the blank space that's happening. Okay, Winter? Okay, good job on your entry, though. Next up is Carl Wiles. I think that's his name, Carl Wiles. We got a couple pages here, and we got intro panel that I dig. I think that it works. Lettering, no, I don't know if I love this lettering, but I like the Hulk and the spacing around it there, right? So we've got this little dome. It's working. First panel. I like the shading. I actually like the inking. I think Carl's doing a good job. We've got the Hulk, maybe holding some medals, a little bit too cocky in the face. Like it's more humanoid than Hulk, but overall, like really good drawing and stuff, right? And I'm digging Carl's inks here. I think he's really is understanding lettering, and even like a little rim light going on with the inks here, right? And we've got an announcer, kind of a strange looking announcer, but it works. Doesn't work with this lettering. Choose a different font, buddy. I think Carl, the font's not helping you. Okay. And then it just comes quickly into Spider-Man and you could tell he's not finished here and stuff. There's a lot of good things going on here. The Spider-Man reveal, but Spider-Man just standing there like this with no neck and a squished head is not the greatest reveal. Like the rendering on Spidey and stuff is great and stuff. I'm really appreciating it. But think of all the ways Spidey can enter an environment or something, right? Like what's he known for? He's not known for just standing there, right? He's not known for like flexing his traps or anything like that. He's known, as the wall crawler, right? And so like I would have envisioned a different intro for him. I think that would have worked better. Okay, next up is Francis Salapande, and oh boy, we got something going on here. Okay, yeah, first intro. There's like all these things joining to see all these aliens coming in to see this alien coliseum that looks pretty cool, right? Goes into panel 2, the Hulk, looking all brutal and stuff like that. I don't know if I like the way this sword is angled, going back, but yet forward ahead of this axe. So there's a perspective issue going on there. It's reading like it's angled back. Let's see if I can explain this a little bit. Okay. And this is something I'm noticing with a lot of people is their perspective. So we've got this block here, and it's going backwards, right? Because we can look at the hilt and see that we're seeing the underside of this block, right? So if that's going backwards, it would be like, I don't know, resting on its form, kind of how it looks. Then all of a sudden, it's right ahead of this axe that's ahead of everything, or ahead of a lot of things, right? It's not really making a lot of sense, right? So problem there, Francis. The crowd, not just a good looking crowd, but it's on an angle. It's starting to give movement and stuff like that. Brings us down into here. This crowd is looking down into the masses at the Colosseum. I am enjoying this. We've got a contemplative hero without the mystery reveal. Who's he going to be? The doors are opening, right? Everybody's excited. Boom, boom, boom. Nice pacing, right? Hulk is standing there grimacing. He's ready to see who comes after him, right? And then who do we got? Who's coming? You know what? I think all of this could have been dropped out. I think it could have been like the bike screeching out and, it's coming to a halt or something like that, like, or vroom, something big, and the bike coming out and stuff, right? Like, I don't know if there was enough build up on page 1 that we don't need further build up on page 2. I don't know, just a thought, but the rendering's off the hook. It's a beautifully drawn page. Look at everything's in perspective. This is interesting because his perspective for this beast of a machine is so spot on, right? Like everything's working on this thing. I'm surprised he messed up with the sword on the previous one. Anyways, this works really, really well. Like I'm kind of blown away. This panel does not. The lack of shadows and it almost looks like one of those old video games. Like, I expect some weird little lame sound effect to go with this panel. And that's a shame because like the previous drawing is just so strong. And I get it when you're drawing something zoomed out so far. How do you do it? How do you really choose how much detail you put in and stuff like that? Something's not working here, especially because they look like they're floating, right? There's nothing grounding them on the ground. Okay. Another crowd shot. Little things with AI. Like his crowds are awesome. I'm really appreciating this. Are they looking up though? I'm not exactly sure why that would be looking up, but so be it. Hulk, gives a scowl. Lobo biting onto a cigar, smiling. They start to huff it after each other, right? Okay. Next one. More scowl, more growl, and then now the big scene. Cool. Like it's really well drawn. Is it though? Okay, like this figure looks good. We're okay. His torso looks good. We're okay. This foot coming out of nowhere confuses me. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here with this. Like I think there should be more to it there. There seems to be something hidden there. Yeah, I don't really get it. It's rendered like, zoom in here and like look at this thing. There's a whole lot of beauty going on here, right? Like, wow, I'm impressed. His hatching is awesome. Shows the forms nicely. Like everything is really well done. And that's the thing about this entry with Francis so far is like I'm noticing so much goodness. And then it's interesting. Okay, his name is Kiko Salapande, but the email was Francis. So go with either one. But like so much goodness, and then these weird little errors, and I'm wondering if it's like he sketches them out first and then kind of forgets to draw some things in, or just is, I don't know. Either way, really strong entry, but funny little errors, right? And I guess we all get that, right? Okay, so this is Ty's entry, Tai Vu, and yeah, there's a problem. It's not finished. He sent this in to me, and he knew it wasn't finished. He's like, "Hey, man, I just want to send something, and like I'm enjoying it, so thanks for the challenge." And then, like, this is his rough sketch, and you could see he started to ink it. And I'm putting this in here not because it's a real entry or anything, but more because I want you to understand that, like, that's the rough, and this is what it can look like with a little bit of time and dedication, right? Like, and all of a sudden, if this would have been finished, we could be looking at the winner here, right? Like, this is such a strong looking first panel that, like, wow, I can't wait to see what comes next. I hope Ty finishes this. He's an amazing artist, and he just, sometimes time gets away from you, right? We've all kind of been there. Okay. Next one is from Arturo Fernandez. And the scan is just, geez, this is how it was sent to me. And like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, obviously, like, we've got some great or really good pencil work here, right? Like, there's some really good things going on, but the quality of this scan is quite frustrating. You know, like, for me, I'm very frustrated trying to figure things out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just I'm disappointed because, like, I could tell there's a lot of skill going on in here, and like, I'm looking through a fog to try to make out what's going on here. Looking at it though, like, kind of cool first page, you know, the Hulk and this just a panel behind him and stuff, and then I get that. Page number 2 is going to be some trumpeters, an announcement. Hulk is looking to see who it is. Hulk with lips is throwing me here a little bit. I don't know. But again, good drawing, right? Like, and this one's a little clearer in the scan. We got a big boy coming in here. And I like the, you know, the through the leg shot. It's been done before, and I think it really works here. Careful though. Why is this leg so much darker than this leg? Is that a scanning thing? Did he use a different grade of pencil on it? You know, like, why? You can back out and see, like, is it the scan? I don't know. And who's the big boy? I don't know, but he's got really big guns, and so that makes him kind of cool. And yeah, I'm seeing the same thing here. So maybe it's his scanner that goes from dark to light going across here, right? We got the guy reveal. Hulk with lips again grimacing, and I don't know if I like that facial expression. Some maybe mastermind smiling. He's the emperor, right? And then this guy with a cocky smile. In all of this, it's funny because when I left this script open, I just said, hey, draw what you want. Here's the opening panel, and then let's see you have some action with Hulk fighting somebody. Nobody's fighting here. Arturo can draw, but he didn't draw one fight. And that's what I asked for. So, sadly, I'm frustrated in a few ways by that entry there. Okay, next one is Dyson Petit. Let's see. Okay, we got a page 1 here. We got the P1, the Coliseum looks kind of cool. Oh, even the lettering is not that bad. I gotta say, out of all the lettering I've seen today, this is doing okay. There's some dead people there. A cigarette is thrown down. Okay, but who is it? It leads us into this panel, which is good. Don't necessarily appreciate the likeness of the Hulk, nor do I like how the shading's going into the word caption, right? Hulk is ready and willing. See, this is weird because the background on this is black and this guy is white, and I'm presuming it's the same person that's walking out towards him, right? So I would have liked to see some consistency in that. Who is this? Where is he coming from? And then, oh, is he coming from here? And if so, he was coming from a dark environment. I don't know. Oh, hey, it's Snake. Cool. Right on. And it's a nice little reveal. He's got his guns ready, ready to roll. Everybody's happy to see him. Oh, but it's not just Snake. Who's the actor? Jeez, why can't I remember this? Escape from New York, right? Uh it's gonna kill me. I'm sure I'll pop in like 2 entries from now. I'm like, oh, Russell? No. I'm stumped. Either way, kind of looks like him. Nice little likeness and stuff, right? They start battling it out, and this is not a good battle scene. I don't know what's happening here, but Hulk down on one knee, reaching forward, and Snake leaping, kind of. Hulk being off the panel, Snake not being off the panel. Geez, that could have been so much better, right? Also, Snake glares, the crowd cheers. Yeah, that's okay. I don't know. Some action shots here a little bit, and then let's see what comes for page 3. Page 3 is just pow, 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 right? I'm a little let down by the action in this. I like that he did a character figure here in a bit of perspective. You know, it's a hard shot to pull off, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think it's page 2 that's kind of getting me like, here's the reveal, here's a crowd, and then all of a sudden the action's really not there. Where's the action, guys? What's going on here? Okay, next up is Andrew Rodriguez. Let's hope some action's in here. Got the opening panel, setting the scene. Good enough. It looks like a demonic, maybe Coliseum. We got Hulk with overdeveloped traps, really short legs, really small feet. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with the anatomy down in there, but something is, right? Somebody comes out to greet him. They glare at each other. You know, I like this mysterious reveal. I think it's kind of cool. Hulk gets ready to jump. He's got his why is he standing like that? I don't know. With his tiny little feet. I don't understand it. I don't know why Hulk is. I guess if he's getting ready to leap, but like when I guess what I'd say to all artists is take some reference photos. See what it's like when you're ready to jump. What does it look like, right? This looks hunched up and crunched. This does not look necessarily like a leap, especially a leap that's twisting and lunging forward. Like this looks like a power push off of one leg or something, right? So I do like this, though. I like this panel. This is one of my favorites so far in this entry. Okay. Next one is the reveal. Santa! Mr. Kringle. And he takes that punch, possibly. Grabs it with his hand, possibly. I'm not sure what's happening in there. Is he dodging? There's a lot of speed lines, so I think the punch is landing. Oh, there his hand is. I can see the little fingers grabbing Hulk's mitt, right? I think I like the Santa's stance here. This is kind of good. A nice reactionary stance to a big hit. And he throws Hulk over, smashes him through the wall, and then takes off his jacket, revealing a dad bod or a grandpa bod or a Santa bod, right? And that's okay. Like I think that I'm liking the anatomy. I'm still confused by Hulk's little feet and stuff like that, right? But overall, pretty strong entry. I like the inking of it. I like the reveal of Santa. I think there's some really good things going on in this entry. Andrew, let's see page 1 again. Just the anatomy here. This is, bro, really work on it. Like there's some weird things happening here that I think is doing you a bit of a disservice, okay? Okay. Next up is Ryan Egolf. And we've got some pretty, I like this. Look at this P1. How cool is that? Right? There's some aliens hovering above some type of coliseum or something like that, right? We've got Hulk standing here. There's some weird hatching going on, some weird lighting going on. Some stuff happening with the face that I'm kind of confused by and stuff like that, right? But overall, it's kind of funky looking. This is strange. This is a crowd maybe, and just two random people in a white space pointing fingers and having, like this guy's having a Siamese twin come off of his shoulder or something like that. Like, this is a weird. The rest of the crowd should have been in there or something. I don't know. It's very bizarre. And the door is sliding open. I get that, right? The door slides open. We've got the targeting system of the predator, right? Even that's a fine reveal. You know what? I'm kind of going to be wondering, oh, what is happening? Hulk gets blasted. Hulk also lost a whole bunch of weight in this one panel. All of a sudden, he's a skinny Hulk, right? Predator standing there. Hulk gets blown back. He's got his head didn't come off, but his helmet did, and Hulk's, smoldering and not in a good way, right? Some kind of cool things here. I don't know if I like that he was targeted from the front, and then looks like he was hit from the back, and then he lost a bunch of weight, right? As the storytelling there is a little strange. I like the targeting system, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense there, right? Hulk gets himself up, gets mad. Hulk has now transformed into a troll in the face. The inconsistencies in the faces here is confusing a little bit, right? Like, all of a sudden he's a mad troll. He gets caught in the net. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of works, right? Flow of the panels. This guy's running over. Okay, this is going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my flow. Not bad. I might have angled this a little bit more to bring me over here. The panel does that already, though, so I think he's doing pretty well. Not sure why he has this little tail here. Seems a little sloppy, right? How's the action? At least he's moving it. He's moving around the screen a little bit and stuff, and getting Hulk jumping and Predator jumping, literally, right? So Hulk's about to beat him. I put a lot of pages in this because I thought this entry stayed consistent through its pages, right? So Predator's got Hulk stabbed, I think. Hulk rips it out. This is confusing. I don't understand what's happening here. Is that half a body? Is that... Yeah, I cannot tell what piece is what. Coloring might help clarify it or something like that, but it doesn't make any sense. This is the notorious countdown of the Predators and the big explosion that follows. There's a crater. Hulk climbs himself out, holds the skull, and now there's more targeting systems on him. And the face changes from panel to panel. Here he's, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of strong things about this. Like, I like the movement of the panels and stuff, and the flow of the page and everything. The inconsistencies in Hulk's face and body size and everything. Just the inconsistencies in Hulk is frustrating, right? Overall, pretty good from Ryan, though. Okay, next one is Jamal. And we can see it's a scan, and he was nice enough to do page 1, label it for me. This is not the strongest opening of a Coliseum, though, that P1 there. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to plot it in and just give us a zoomed out thing, but it's looking like a sandbox, right? Like, it doesn't really strike like a Coliseum. It looks like a little sandbox somewhere or whatever. So some scope, how others approach the Coliseum, take a look at that, Jamal, and see how others tackled it, right? Here's a Hulk against some grinning cloaked guy. Here's a random in the crowd, I'm going to presume, right? So going through, we've got, this grimacing, we've got some crowd shots. But is this a crowd shot? Is this the fighter? The teeth look the same or something like that. The reveal is not so strong there, right? Hulk kind of flexing. And then we get into more stuff. Hulk's kind of bouncing. But you can see what's happening here is by this time, his entry has kind of just become rough lines of saying this is what could go there, should go there and stuff. And the details are just starting to fall away. So by page 3, his entry's not nearly as strong as it was before. A lot of face reacting shots, and that can get a little boring, actually. I think that's not really helping things. It's not helping move the story along there. It's, not everybody needs to show their reaction to, I don't even know what's happening. It's just a jump and a reaction and a smile and a something maybe, and then it's a punch, and then, like it's not super clear what's going on there, right? Okay, next up is Jordan Hartman. And my goodness, what is happening here? I'm going to do something here. This is page 1. I feel like I just paid for this comic, right? Like, and it's not just the coloring. Like, strip away the colors and just imagine this in inks. Still freaking amazing, right? Although I gotta say, this Rainbow Bridge bringing somebody in is pretty damn strong. The colors and that help. But like, look at how it goes. Okay, we've got this nice angled panel of like the crowds here. Everybody's clapping and freaking out for the Hulk. You can tell this is a Coliseum. He's looking here and he's cut through his panel to bring in something arriving. The dust is settling and stuff, and something's going to come through, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it is. This was a double page spread, so it's going horizontal here. Whoever this is dusting himself off. Great lettering. Look at that. Easy to read, consistent, awesome. So he's reacting. He gets a boulder thrown at him. Oh, sorry, guys. He's like, what the? Okay, here's one complaint. It seems like everything's moving this way, that he's to our left. And all of a sudden, poof, he's moving to our right, right? I don't know if I necessarily love that. I would have switched this around and have him flying off to the left, getting knocked out to the left. Because, chances are he landed on our left and he's relatively facing the Hulk. Maybe I'm wrong, though. If so, if the rock hit him from behind, why does it look like it hit him from the front here, right? So a little bit of an issue with that, right? But overall, it's pretty strong. Hulk's rampaging after him, does a massive leap, ready to come in. Look at that panel. The wrath is there. Thought these were Christmas lights for a second, but I'd accept it either way because it looks so good, right? He lands and this kid's getting smashed back. He's like, you want to fight? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wants to fight by now. Hulk doesn't fight, right? What's next? I'm excited. So excited. Hulk doesn't fight. Hulk smash. Look at that lettering. That's insane. Like, oh my goodness, that's his kaboom. He separated it out here. He changed it all up. He played with it. He had fun. Guys, you're looking at a professional here, right? Hulk smash, and the kid is like, smash this. And I'm guessing he's an anime manga type of character. I don't know him, and I don't have to. I'm loving it either way, right? So this guy projects a green energy. It smashes up against the Hulk. Hulk seems to knock it aside, though. Come and punch him in the face, or not punch him, but pin him down, right? Grabbing him. And this kid freaks out and blasts Hulk up in the air. I'm excited. Last page. What's happening? This guy, he's transforming. He's transforming into some massive fighter creature or whatever. And he gets some muscles, and it's to be continued. And wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really have any crits from this. This is professional level. There's a couple things that, we can nudge back and forth a little bit on it, right? But overall, you are not going to see a better entry than this, right? This boom and then this smoke clearing, that's a little unclear. Like the panel there disappears and stuff like that. So maybe I'd refigure this one. I don't know. I don't know if it had to be 2 panels here. It could just be whooshing into an impact or something. And then the smoke reveal could have been a little bit stronger on the second page or whatever, right? So that's my one little bit of feedback, right? Overall, Jordan, you can't see this right now, but I'm doing a like bow down. Like this is a really strong entry, and I'm really impressed by it, man. Very, very impressed. Okay, next one is Kurt Jr. Let's see what Kurt's got here. This is looking kind of cool. So Kurt's got his Colosseum, right? I can see what he's doing. You know, Kurt's most likely practicing on his perspective, and doing these angled corners is pretty tough, especially the odd shape of them and everything, right? So good on you, Kurt, for really giving it a go. It's hard to tell though, because right now it doesn't look like it's on this particular surface. This particular surface with the horizon line right here, this Colosseum that you've drawn looks like it's at a 45-degree tilt or something like that. Like something looks a little bit off on there. So Kurt, rethink that a little bit. Like, not, you got to choose one or the other. Or you could just say, hey, I meant it to do that. I don't think you did, but that's okay. Okay, we've got the Hulk. He's green, looking green and mean. He's trying on the coloring here and trying on the shading. I'm appreciating that and stuff, right? It's looking okay. The reveal, I like this. What I might have done is just have the glow off of this and light up pieces and parts of this face. I know that's a little bit more advanced and stuff like that, but have the glow just touching on bits of the armor and like an under lighting of this face, right? I think that would have worked really well for Iron Man coming in from the dark, right? Oh, he's not even Iron Man. He's the apex predator. He's a predator with Iron Man's suit and Captain America's shield and Thor's, what is it, Stormbreaker. I think I get the reveal, but I guess my disappointment is, and Kurt, this is what I run into a few times here looking at these entries, is so far no action, man. And what I was really hoping for was action. So I like the big reveal. I could see time was spent on it. But I would have preferred a little bit of time spent on some action. Okay, this is Renik Laverte or something. Okay, so we've got the opening panel, a bloodied mess of a Colosseum floor, right? We've got Hulk bleeding green, but the red is not from him. This is almost looks like a photo in a way. Do you know what I mean? There's some strong realism going on here and stuff, right? With the blur and the focal point here. Very strong choices here, right? We get into the crowd's reaction. The crowd's praying or worshiping or, bow down and like really saying, damn, you're good. And this crowd is awesome. Like, look at the very same design, but variation in poses and stuff like that, and faces and angles and stuff. Then we get the back shot of the Hulk with his control mechanism put on him. What I would have maybe, and we'll see how the reveal comes, but this might have worked with the over the shoulder, what's next type of glance, right? Like let's take a look, see what comes next. But right now, this is a pretty crazy entry, right? Okay, there's a lot of pages here, and I included that for a reason, because they're so damn good, right? Like, wow. Okay, so we've got the thing reacting. Now, this is two panels that are almost the exact same. It reacts and puts them down, right? I kind of get it. It introduced what this was before. It's a control mechanism. These guys come in. Look at this perspective, like his hand, the body, these figures walking in the distance, coming up to him and stuff, right? They get him ready, and they're maybe pulling him off into the next room. This is crazy impressive right now. Like, I'm just blown away by this, right? Like, I don't know. There's a reason why I wanted all these. This is an entry that brought a lot of pages, and I'm like, show me more, right? Okay, so Hulk gets drug into the back room, and he's kind of sitting. He's still being brought back under this doorway. This is taking a long time to get them where they're going, but maybe there's a reason for that. I'm trusting this artist a lot. They've gained a lot of my trust already, right? So they keep walking him through these doors. He's getting walked. Are these the Hulk's feet? If so, I kind of wish they were a little bit more massive. But I get it. He's being walked back here, right? I'm going to go on to this would be page 4. Guy with a gun. Something gets blown off or ripped off, right? They're facing whatever it is that's back there. They look like they're ready for trouble. Hulk is kind of just like giving it a mean look, but this is weird. Like, here's Hulk with his collar, maybe? Or is this a new character? I don't know. This might be a new character here. Hulk did have something around his neck, but I thought it was mostly on the back there, right? Some characters are burning up. Who's causing this burn up, right? They're running out from this room or whatever, right? Is this now the Hulk? Does he now have something over his head? Did I miss that? Did they put that on there? There's a fist flying through people, and this other gladiator. I can't tell if that's. Did they put something on Hulk's head? Here, no. See, there's his face, and he doesn't have a collar in front. So this is where it's kind of confusing because this artist is so good, but something's happening here. So maybe they're introducing a new character that has something on their head but doesn't sometimes, and then has a full-on helmet because that wasn't the Hulk before. Let's see the reveal. Okay, it's what is that? The Marine or whatever, right? It's funny because that first page was so damn strong, and then there were so many pages after that looked amazing, but the bouncing back and forth in the storytelling got really confusing. And the thing is, like, I'm not going to claim to be the best expert comic book reader ever, and I can glean insights more than anyone else, right? But let's just call me average. And as an average comic book reader, I was struggling. I was struggling on that page. I was struggling with this. So this is page 2 and 3. It was okay. Like they're dragging him into the doorway and stuff like that, and I kind of got it right. I felt that was good. But page 4 and 5 down here got really confusing. Like I get that something's in there lighting him on fire, but somehow, who are these these helmeted people and stuff? I don't understand it. Right? Are we looking at new characters, or are they putting something on the Hulk? Right? Renik, Mrs. Levert. Oh, geez, I'm butchering this name. Either way, as a parting note, I'm gonna come back to this original first page and just say, wow, once again, this first page was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, some of the storytelling after that fell apart a little bit, right? Okay. Next one is Victor Rufino. And let's see this first panel. First 2 panels, sure. And this looks like something out of the late 80s of Marvel, right? Like the line work is crisp, lots of detail. It's exactly, I understand the writing. It's easy to read. I can understand everything that's going on here. Hulk smashing in tons of characters. This might possibly be Thor. This might be the Thing, right? This might be the Juggernaut, actually, now that I'm looking at it. He's destroying everyone. And it's really good. Like this crowd, I don't know if he drew that in or copy-pasted some of it, but like, damn, there's a lot of effort going into all. Should I zoom in? I don't know if I want to. But either way, like I'm pretty damn amazed, right? Come to the next one. Are you not entertained? Okay, maybe I'm not totally in love with this font. I think there could have been a better choice, but overall, the lettering, the choice of background characters here, I'm just spotting this, right? It's pretty cool. Hulk hears something behind him, scuff, 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 right? And he looks over the shoulder. We've even got Galactus that's down. Wow. Okay, this is who is going to face off against the Hulk here? There's been a lot of build up here of characters that he's already wiped out. I don't know if I like where that lad is. The lad should be just a little hinky on the anatomy there, Victor. But overall, really good, man. Like I'm having fun. I'm looking at it. Yeah. Okay, let's see. That's only page 1. Holy cow. Wow, there's a lot happening in that. Page 2, Invincible. Good intro. I would have, and even with the eye behind him, right? I think that's awesome. I kind of wish instead of this ends now, too cocky. I would have said like a young Mark. What would he say or something like that, right? Let's see. Okay, that I better not stand for incredible. Invincible pops him a whole bunch of times. It's funny because Invincible's not the fastest character, so I'm not sure how he's getting away with this. Like he's fast, but I mean like not the Flash fast to be able to have these multiple hits on the Hulk, right? This is a great hit though. Like that's great. Can catch him off guard. He wasn't sure who this kid is or whatever. Not bad, kid. You're strong, but in case you hadn't heard, something's coming next, right? Oh, and more Sentinels and everything that are laid out here. Wow, it's like a goodie bag. I just want to explore who's beat up in this Coliseum so far, right? Like, this is kind of awesome. Okay, next one. I can do this all day. Stolen from Captain America there, right? Big hit. Invincible cracks back, picks up Manhattan here. He's going to slam him down. Big boom, right? And next issue, only one survives. Pretty damn strong entry. You know what I mean? Like, this is hard to compete with. The flow goes really well. Hits, brings us down here, hits over here. This panel breaks down into here, right? Like, if I was to go and critique each one, layered, this is great. Hulk brings us down to this. He brings us over to here. You know, his eyes bring us over to here. We're laid out. We're directional, that we're moving on to the next page, right? Victor's learned a lot of lessons here. Straight on shot reveal, but even then, he's looking over here. They're looking at each other. Pops down into this. This brings us down into the hit. This panel break. Watch out for the panel break there. I might not have done him as a panel break into, what is that, P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, P5. I wouldn't have broke P1 into P5 necessarily. But, geez. There's a few entries here that are just like, yeah, that'd be an easy thing to publish. Okay, so next up, we've got Tom Cuthbert. I recognize that name. And let's go to P1 here. Panel 1 is great. It's an awesome opening panel, setting the scene, right? Like this looks really, really good, really strong. It's a futuristic city with some perspective, nice tight cropping. Do you know what I mean? Like it's looking really good. The only thing I might add is in the Coliseum or stadium itself, it's looking a little blank. If I can see this little guy, then most likely I could probably see rows of crowds, some details of the stands, something like that, right? And so I get it as a bit of a contrast from the background, but it just looks like this is the stadium before people arrived. And I don't think that's what Tom wants to convey here, right? So, not sure. Okay, next one, we got the Hulk jumping in, and I'll kind of bounce back on this. Hulk leaps into action, leaps into the scene, and he looks good. Good musculature. Everything's looking pretty decent on him, right? Yeah, I'm looking at the anatomy. I dig it. His little flip-flops and his floppy little gladiator skirt, right? Looks good. One thing that I'm not totally sold on is like this one really feels like he's coming forward, right? Like I feel like he's really coming forward to us and stuff. Whereas in here, he's coming down, right? Like this is a straight down shot, right? And so I can't say, like I would have rather seen him jumping up somehow in this one or whatever. Like I don't know. I don't think this is working 100%. It's not bad, right? Like it looks good and stuff like that. But just the leap forward and then the fall down, not sure it's selling me 100% on it. The scowl is. I dig that. I like the mean grimace, right? Okay. Next one, page 2, we've got Howard the Duck, and Rocket sitting in some machinery. And as we look down below the machinery, it seems to be this duck robot, right? Which is pretty cool, right? I don't know about if the spacing in this machinery would have fit them exactly in this duck, but whatever, it works well enough, right? And we've got the nice middle finger here, and see, we've got rows of crowds in the back and stuff, and that just helps flesh this out a little bit, right? Like, I think this looks really good. I also like his let's see, his angled panels here, I think, are working quite well. We get into some action, a punch, a kick, and then Hulk down. I don't know if I like this, though, because, well, like, I like it, but I mean, like, what do we have? We've got Hulk here, Hulk here, Hulk here, and then he's on our right. And I would have rather seen something like Hulk here, Hulk here, Hulk here, and then ending up on our right in the corner of the page, right? It just would have went with a flow as the camera's turning around instead of turning, and then boom, we're back, and then boom, we're way over, and the camera did this huge pan of swapping characters out, right? That would have been a change I might have explored on this page instead, right? Just your camera pan, watch out how much we jump on it, right? It can get a little confusing. It's not too confusing in this case because we can recognize the characters, but it can still get a little hinky sometimes, right? Howard with a big expression. I would have went bigger on this expression, actually. Like, honestly, he's getting tackled by the Hulk, right? And so I think this is good, this Howard here, right? But I think it could have punched just a little bit more with bigger eyes, like not even devilish, but bigger eyebrows, or the eyebrows higher up. Let's see. The eyebrows higher up, bigger eyes, and have this cigar falling out of the mouth, have it already out of the mouth. And he's like, oh my God, right? And even Rocket. I get like there's a certain stylistic choice here, right? So yeah, I it's within his own style and the bounds of that style and stuff, right? But I just would have pushed this expression just a little bit more, right? And drop the jaw even more here on Rocket, right? That would have just, I don't know, sold the shock of this big hit a little bit better, right? Great inking, great rendering on this. It looks awesome. Hulk starts pounding. We're good. Yeah, that looks really good. Like it's a great page. Rocket is possibly scheming. I don't know. He looks like he's up to no good. He maybe pressed a button or something like that, and he grabs Hulk. That's what I see here. Okay, so he's about to press a button, grabs onto Hulk's melon, zaps him, puts some controller discs on him or something like that or whatever, and wins the day. Yeah, that's pretty damn solid. Yeah. I hard to say. Like, I don't know if I'm in love with some of the way that the face is drawn on occasion here and stuff like that. But overall, like, Tom's very consistent in his style approach to this and in his consistency through all the pages and everything. I think he did an awesome job on this, and the victory stance at the end, the hips and so, it's a robot, so like, I don't know. There's only so much you can critique on the anatomy down there, right? But especially impressive is the rendering on these pages, right? It's just really good. Flesh out a little bit of the background, not even that much, just a little bit like you did here. Do that, for example, like you did even on P2. That could have been done in some way, just hints of lines or something like that in this P1. A couple little changes here on the flow on this page 2, and boy, is this ever a strong entry. Okay, next up we've got a submission by Chuck Calloway. Let's see what we've got here, Chuck. Opening scene. He's doing a lot of lettering here, which I appreciate. I think it's great to see it as in it tells a story. That's what good lettering does and stuff like that. I think he plotted out this stadium pretty well, but I guess what worries me here is the lettering is crimping over, not just the stadium, which I kind of can be there or whatever, but if I'm looking at this scene, these are our main people, because I can see them, right? And maybe that's how he's got it planned, I don't know. But pretty sure down here is the Hulk. And he seems like so much of a distant afterthought. So setting the scene, has he got it? Kinda. I'm worried about the perspective just a little bit. There's some weird things happening here and stuff like that, but I can't really tell because it's blocked off with the lettering. And so if you're gonna do lettering on this, boy, it better be really good. I like the little asterisks. I'm a big fan of the little asterisks and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of how close it is here and how far it is away here, and you know what I mean, the spacing distance on some of these things, right? And how close it is here in this captioning. This is really close to the border there. Okay, so if you're going to do lettering, watch out for these points. I'm great with adding it in, but watch out that they're cutting off main characters, and watch that they're consistent within this. Okay. Next up, we've got our bigger reveal of the Hulk, right? And this looks pretty good. I like the Hulk. I like his armbands. I think he looks grimacing and stuff like that. The shading looks decent. It's all kind of nice and consistent. I don't even mind that I can't see the background here because the focus is on the Hulk. I think that's kind of good. Again though, I'm not sure if I would want to cover up the Hulk's monstrous hand here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for some reason that's important, and cropping them and cutting them and stuff. It's a stylistic choice, but even cropping the head here. So where's my focus? Right here, on his boobs. Now, maybe Chuck wants to focus on his boobs, and that's cool, but that's kind of where all points are leading. This is the big open area here, right? It's a lot of boob focus, right? Hulk comes in, he's like, his opponent emerges, huh? Santa, right? And it's Santa. And I like this. I like this angled presentation. The focus is here, the focus is on his mitts. I would not have that though. That tangent between the hand and the word balloon, get rid of that. Bump it down, do whatever, but do not have them touching like that. If I take it away, you could see that is aggravating for the eye. Chuck, okay, so watch out for tangents there. Okay, next page. Moving on up. Action. I like it. Big bam, right? I like the impact. I like Santa dodging. Hulk smash. I'm kind of getting this. A lot of, again, when you're going to do lettering here, I don't know if I love that, but I love this here. Like if I was to just, I don't know, let's see if I frame it or something like that, right? What would it look like? Maybe do the frame there. Something along those lines. I can move it around just a tad or something like that, right? But that might have been enough for this scene. I do like the little aliens in the back, so thumbs up on those guys. Maybe keep them and stuff like that. I'm thinking out of the box. And then I might hit with a bigger bam here. You know, depending on what I'm doing here, but I might have ringed it along here instead or something. Okay. Interesting. I thought this was 2 panels when my eye first looked at it. This white kind of confused me a little bit, right? And yeah, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it lent to a little bit of confusion when I first glanced down at it, right? I think part of the confusion is Hulk standing? Is Santa on his back? Is he standing? He's up against the wall. Maybe this is a downward viewpoint, which is fine, but I don't know if that's serving the action. As an artist, I get it. Like you're like, hey, I'm going to move the camera around, and one of the best angles is right above. Not always. It's kind of, I've actually found this a lot of times is straight up and down, like straight looking down camera is boring. I think we played too many crawler games like that. Do you know what I mean? Like just where we're looking straight down at the characters and stuff. So this is an example of a good word balloon here. The spacing looks pretty even on the sides and up to bottom and stuff like that. This would get a thumbs up from me. Okay, this one a little bit uneven, but all that would take is just nudging the letters down just a hair, and it would be better. Then, so Santa gets kind of beat up here, or pushed up against the wall, and in come reinforcements, the reindeer and everything like that with the side eye. There's a lot of side eye going on here. Again, with the lighting issue, or not lighting, I'm thinking of Rudolph's nose here. Again, with the text issues, I don't love all this empty space. I would adjust this. This on the contrary, is quite good. We've got similar spacing on either side, right? I'm liking this, right? So Chuck, I hope you take that feedback when it comes to especially your lettering and stuff, right? Yeah, overall, I think a pretty solid entry. A little bit of confusion in this, moves us here, moves us in here. Overall, pretty decent flow. Okay, guys. Next up is Demo. Demo's got a pretty cool entry here. Let's see, what do we got? We've got our opening scene with the Coliseum and some type of announcer. I like when people throw in announcers. It works, right? And in this case, it does work. Those pants look slightly uncomfortable. Other than that, the Coliseum, just the hint of people and things in there. It doesn't have to be detailed or anything. It just has to be the hint of it. This is looking a little unstable and wonky for me. I might have taken another look. I think the fact that this has no thickness to this line, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if there should be some type of, if this is coming out towards us more, and that's the appearance of the angle, right? Then maybe this should have this beveled edge to it, right? So watch out for that, Demo. The Hulk. Jeez, is this ever tough? Because I love, trying to do the angled down thing, the not quite straight up and down, but like the camera's pretty high up, and unfortunately it's making the Hulk look very thin here, making his head look really large compared to his body and stuff. It's not carrying the weight that it should. And then the flooring actually looks like it's coming up a little bit and stuff, right? Instead of like tapering in to the back that we're trying to have this background here, right? Not the most flattering pose. Grab a 3D reference or an action figure or something. See if you can take a couple passes at this and see if you could rework it and come up with something just a little bit fuller, where the back's in there. Just, I don't know, I could see it just being a little fuller, little bigger up top, and we're looking down at the pecs, right? I don't know. I don't know if I want to try to fix this or not. It's just, actually the upper body is not bad. It's just, I think what happens is the lower body starts to look wimpy from here. Maybe we're seeing too much of it. Maybe it should have been smaller or something. I don't know. I would spend some time reworking this demo. This one, however, works great. Here's a perspective of a giant robot, and we're looking, even though we're pretty eye level with the Hulk right now, we are looking up at this giant robot. And this panel here is very, very strong. I really appreciate and enjoy this, right? P1 is good, P2 isn't, P3 really is. P4, coming with the big stomp, I dig it. P5, hey, this also works, big. And I might have kicked up the dust a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like, had a bigger, it looks like a rumbling, whereas I would like, whoosh, whoosh, curled up those dusts and stuff like that, right? Overall, looks pretty good though. Fun page. Hulk is under it, but what's he under? We're guessing the foot, right? And I get that, right? And I think here we're running into the same issue I had with the Hulk on that first angled one. You've got it so that his legs are just really wimpy looking. You know what I mean? Like if I really outline this and take a look at it, like here's his arm and here's his leg. I'll give it a little bit more generous there. Same size. And listen, I love big biceps, I love big triceps, I love big guns and everything like that, but there's no way an arm is ever going to be the size of a leg, a thigh. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. Right? Unless you're drawing Johnny Bravo and that type of comic distortion or whatever and stuff like that. It shouldn't be like this. It's making him look, it's not conveying the mass that the Hulk carries here, Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not giving him the justice that he should be having, right? Like he should be a monster of proportions and stuff like that, right? Like a lot of the anatomy is good, but like I would even bend him over a little bit here. Ooh, I just bent Hulk over, right? I'm good with the guns being this big. That's not the issue. But his legs should have been a lot bigger, right? Even just thickening them up right now. And his bigger feet. There we go. Right? Like that, all of a sudden now, we're starting to get a much thicker Hulk, right? Much more hulking Hulk. This is okay, but wow, lots of space, lots of real estate being used for what? I don't know. There's not lettering going in there because lettering's already done, right? So I guess Demo, I'd ask you and say, well, why are you spending this much of the page's real estate in gray, right? Like, is it a solitary, quiet affair? Could be. I don't know. It just kind of, it's not, along with him looking skinny, just makes it look not great. Okay, we've got Hulk pushing up, and this is a hard one too, because how do you convey that? I get that, he's kind of pushing up, jumping and pushing and thrusting and stuff like that, but how would your hands look when you're doing that? Have you ever like thrown a medicine ball up against the wall, like in that kind of like CrossFit style stuff that I don't tell people to do? Your hands curled up like that just seems weird. Like after you thrust, and I'm doing it right now as I'm talking, right? I'm thrusting. My hands are open and splayed, right? I pressed something monstrous, a monstrous foot above me. Push. And where are my hands? Do that for yourself, right? Your hands are open, splayed, with a strong effect, right? It's powered from the shoulders and the whole body and stuff like that. Curling the fingers in takes away from that. It makes him look like he's jumping or fall or something. It doesn't convey the power that you're trying to do. And you're basically doing the same shot twice here. I get that. I understand what you're trying to do. His push versus the effect of it or something like that, right? I think it's working overall pretty well. And I like how you drew this, I don't know, what's his name? Ultimo or something like that. I don't know the robot's name, but I think you did a great job with it, man. I think there's a lot of good things going on here. A lot of good things in your pages, but a few areas to work on. Thanks for the entry, man. And last one I believe that I've got here is Nathan Brown. Okay. We start off with the Coliseum. Nice shot. And I don't know if it's really going in perspective per se. There's some things that are going a little wonky, especially with this thing off to the side here. That this thing is throwing it off a lot, right? Let's go into his anatomy a little bit here. Hulk, his feet are super large. His hands are in an awkward position. Yeah, I would. If I was Nathan, I would work on your anatomy, man. Like, I think looking at your pencils, I think you've got a lot of confidence in some of your pencils. But when I look at the actual structure of the faces and the anatomy, it gets better a little bit here. Some of it's a stylistic choice, I think, right? Some of it's confusing, though, in this midsection here. So, yeah, watch out for the anatomy. Like, for example, this biceps way over here, whereas it should be right here, right? But I actually think you got a lot of pencil skills here, man. I think there's a lot of good things going on here. So we go from here, he brings us over here, brings us to P3, down to P4. P4 brings us into P5. I like the flow. I like the flow of the pages so far. Or the panels in the pages. We've got a turtle coming in here, kicking some butt, or kicking his face at least, right? Comes in, kicks the Hulk in the face, right? Hulk is going to smash. Little bit concerned of the size difference, but I'll let it slide. It also looks like the Hulk is like running that way, not towards this character, but kind of off to the side, right? He's going to miss him already. So he's not running. He's getting ready to slam. Interesting. I don't know if this pose makes me think of a slam, but close. I don't know who this is with the, could it be Raph? Let's call him Raph. Raph goes flying, right? And again, like this is okay. Like I think his I'm actually kind of impressed by the panel flow. We've come here, brings us down into here. This one brings us down into here. This one's going to take us off to the next page, right? We've got Hulk smiling, a whole bunch of characters back here and stuff like that, and Raph laid out. Raph is kind of huge here compared to some of this. Like the sizing is a little hinky. Yeah, no, I think just the raw pencil work is really strong on this. The panel flow is actually kind of impressive. I think the consistency in anatomy, lots of weird things going on with muscles on occasion, and consistency in faces and stuff would really push this entry into the next step. So that was a lot of quality, a lot of effort. I gotta say, I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed with how many entries and just how amazing some of them were. And even the ones that some of you might be looking at and saying, I don't know how great that was. It was great because a lot of times those students, I've seen where they came from and what they entered, and I can see the steps that they've made, right? The progress that they've made. So I'm pretty proud. Guys, you're going to see in my announcement post who the winners are, right? You know, who the top 3 are and stuff like that. But really, this video is about the feedback on all of your work. And so I hope that the feedback that I've given here for all of these entries helps you. Whether it's feedback on your specific entry, or whether it's feedback on other entries and you're like, yeah, I can learn from that. Either way, look through this video and see if you can apply some of the lessons learned to the next time you do a sequential page. And I'm kind of hoping it'll be with me because I love these. So join in on my next sequential challenge and let's see what you got.